Our goal today is to catch bats, especially Barbastelle bats. A Barbastelle bat does in fact fly into the net in the night. There is still a lot scientists and nature conservationists don't know about this rare species. They learn something new every time one is detected or caught. Why is the Barbastelle bat so rare in Germany? And why is it under threat? How can it be protected and promoted to help increase numbers? These are the questions being addressed by the national project Protecting and Promoting the Barbastelle Bat in Germany, part of the Federal Biological Diversity Program. The Stiftung Fledermaus is coordinating the project. Its partners are Naturstiftung David, the Nature and Biodiversity Conservation Union NABU in Baden-Württemberg and Lower Saxony, and Greifswald University. The scientific studies and tests are being carried out in 28 areas across 8 of Germany's Länder. The project partners are cooperating with Länder and national forest authorities, the Deutsche Wildtierstiftung, private forest owners, and nature conservation authorities and associations. The first question is, where might Barbastelle bats be found? This species has very specific needs, for example, suitable living spaces, undisturbed flight paths, and good conditions for nocturnal insect hunting. All these elements combine to make a habitat for the Barbastelle bat, and this can be modelled. The Freiburg Institute of Applied Animal Ecology has created a habitat model and applied it to the whole of Germany.
We use the habitat model to identify areas where we can carry out a targeted search for Barbastelle bats.
The habitat model brings together a number of environmental variables, for example, climate data and land use categories such as forest or open land. The basis of the habitat model is the distribution data on Barbastelle bats that we have collected from all colleagues with relevant data.
It's possible that there are Barbastelle bat populations in many parts of Germany that we know nothing about. That's why it's important to take a closer look.
Areas with suitable habitats for the bats are marked in colour on the map. Habitats with confirmed populations are marked in black. In the far north of Germany, there is a large forest that is a very suitable habitat, the National Natural Heritage Site Tilsau, at the heart of the island of Rügen. These National Natural Heritage Sites are gifted by the German government. They are permanently dedicated to nature conservation. Sebastian Brackhane from the Deutsche Wildtierstiftung wants to find out where the Barbastelle bats can be found in this forest.
I'm surrounded by old beech and oak trees that provide just the kind of structures female Barbastelle bats need for maternity roosts. So it's definitely worthwhile looking for Barbastelle bats here. We use bat corders, in other words, boxes that record bats' ultrasound calls to try and track them down. We can then analyze the recordings on the computer to determine whether Barbastelle bats are among those we recorded.
The Barbastelle bat has a unique ultrasound call, so a recording is proof of a population. The habitat model shows that there are many suitable forests across Germany, but Barbastelle bat populations have only been detected in a small number of them. By using this acoustic detection, it is possible to quickly obtain an overview of Barbastelle bat numbers in an area. Volunteers carry out this work here in the Upper Rhine Valley near Ettenheim. First of all, I thought about where Barbastelle bats may be found. In other words, find suitable areas where we could potentially hang up this bat corder. Once a suitable spot is found, the bat corder is hung up in the forest for several nights. It's then taken down and can be connected to a laptop installed with a corresponding program. This program can then be used to watch and listen to the bat calls, which can then be analyzed. And of course, we hope for positive findings with this analysis. Robert Pfeifler from NABU Baden-Württemberg coordinates the volunteers' activities.
In this project, citizen science means bringing together volunteers from a number of different areas and with a range of expertise. Some of our volunteers have been actively involved in nature conservation for a long time, in many cases specifically bat conservation, so they already know a lot about this species. But there are also volunteers who have never really had anything to do with bats or nature conservation until now, but who heard about the project and wanted to get involved. The Baden-Württemberg forest authorities provide NABU with technical support. Cooperation with official and volunteer nature conservationists is extremely important because we get feedback about where populations are and about what this species needs. This means we can provide more targeted support for the bats. For example, leave more old trees and dead wood standing, create structures on forest margins. For me as a forester, it would be a real highlight to find a Barbastelle bat here. The structures in this forest are ideal. In the Rhön region in Hessen, there are also suitable habitat structures. The Hofbiber Forestry Office records bat calls across large areas at grid points. It cooperates with experts in bat conservation. The Hofbiber Forestry Office is a model forestry office for biodiversity. We want to develop management methods to ensure harmony between use and how we interact with the animal species living here, including vulnerable species like the Barbastelle bat, throughout the entire forest and not just in protected areas. To start with, we marked locations on the map and then assessed whether it would make sense to set up a bat corder there. Then we calibrated and put up the devices at the chosen locations and left them there for 3 to 5 days.
The acoustic data not only show us where Barbastelle bats can be found, but also which areas of the Rhön they prefer.
Typical locations for frequent sightings of Barbastelle bats are old forests. That is, forests that are 120 or 140 years old. Within these forests, it is often small clearings or aisles that the bats use for flying around.
We need more detailed data to be able to protect Barbastelle bat populations.
At locations where a high level of bat activity has been detected, we start by setting up nets and trying to catch Barbastelle bats. We can then fit them with a tracking device, especially the females, as they lead us to the nursery roosts. These roosts are a sign of the most suitable habitat and are a crucial aspect of Barbastelle bat conservation. After all, this is where young bats are born and reared.
The ITN team attaches a tracking device to a female Barbastelle bat. The lightweight device is attached using a special medical adhesive. It falls off after a few days, by which point the bat has been located using a telemetry antenna. The The tree housing the bats is usually found the next day and marked so that it and its surroundings can be protected.
Once we have found the tree, we spend an evening sitting under it counting how many animals fly out, using a night vision device. This gives us a rough idea of the size of the colony in each forest area.
Rhön in Hessen is one of several regions in which detailed study of the Barbastelle bat is ongoing. Barbastelle bats are not found all over Germany. They are a very sedentary species and do not fly long distances. To get a better insight into their distribution and local adaptations, it is important to study different populations, in Thüringen too, for example.
The Stiftung Fledermaus works with a range of partners here in Thüringen. The State Forestry Authority, Thüringen Forst, but also with a large number of private forest owners, nature conservation authorities, volunteer nature conservationists and bat lovers. A few years ago, those of us in Thüringen looking to protect the Barbastelle bat only saw them in winter habitats, at the Küffhäuser or Thüringer Pforte. It was clear to us that this wonderful forest-dwelling species must have also a summer home here in the Heinleite. Foresters are always thrilled and immensely proud when a rare animal is discovered in their forest. And of course we want to find out as much as we can about the animal, because the more we know, the better the protection we can offer. Here in the Heinleite, there is a high density of hardwood, and we have very structured areas and very old beech trees.
Martin Biedermann and Christiane Kups are setting up for mist netting in the early evening.
Ich mach's jetzt hier oben drauf. Ich würde jetzt mal, wollen wir es aufschreiben?
Ja, probieren wir, wie es ausschaut.
When a Barbastelle bat flies in this direction, it flies into the net and gets caught here in this pocket. The net has to be quite loose, or else it will be a trampoline effect. It's important that the bat falls gently into this pocket. Looks good, don't you think?
Yes, it does.
I think we've picked a good spot and we'll be in luck today.
Fingers crossed. I'm ready, and hopefully the bats will be out and about. The weather looks good.
Yes.
Once night falls, their plan works.
When we catch a Barbastelle bat, we check to see whether it's male or female and weigh it to see if it's healthy. With female bats, we check whether they have already produced offspring.
A small tissue sample is taken before the bat is released.
We're very curious to see the outcome of the genetic analysis. We now send this sample off to Moritz Kramer at Greifswald University. I'm sent tissue samples from all over Germany by a wide range of project partners, and I also collect some myself. We then analyze them using our population genetic methods. It's not possible to distinguish between different populations of Barbastelle bats based on their appearance. We need their genetic data and their genetic substance to really see the differences. The goal is to understand whether the populations in southern Germany have a different genetic composition to those in northern Germany. We expect the populations in southern Germany, which have never disappeared, to be more genetically diverse than the northern ones. Our ultimate goal is to find out how the Barbastelle bat spread in Germany again after it had most likely disappeared in some regions, and how this works so that we can learn more about the ecology of this species. Let's see whether the southern German populations really are more genetically diverse compared with northwestern Barbastelle bats. It's particularly interesting to see the outcome in Lower Saxony, which seems to be where distribution ends.
On behalf of NABU Lower Saxony, Ivo Niermann is studying the Barbastelle bat populations in Lower Saxony, found in huge old oak trees and the alluvial forests of the Elbe Valley. At the moment, it seems this is where distribution ends in northwestern Germany. Beyond this area, there are no signs of Barbastelle bats. This is clear when we take a look at the MOPS map that marks Barbastelle bat populations and was set up as part of the project.
Data is collected all over Germany, and then all project partners can enter their data into a central database available online. The MOPS map helps standardize data and gives everyone quick feedback.
It is especially important to protect isolated populations of Barbastelle bats and those living in remote areas. One key task for NABU Lower Saxony is to protect trees that are home to these bats.
Of course, if we take these large old oak trees out of use, then it doesn't just help the Barbastelle bat. It helps many other rare species too, like the great Capricorn beetle, which has a feeding tunnel here, as you can see.
There are very few of these massive trees in northern Bavaria, but Barbastelle bats are still found there because they have found alternative homes in wooden cladding on barns. The Stiftung Fledermaus works with the families that own these barns to make sure the bats can stay.
Shall we take a look? Have you spotted any?
Yes, I've seen some flying around and I've swept up some droppings.
Ah, yes. There are some droppings on the windowsill.
Yes.
Are there any there now? Have you seen them in the evening?
I've spotted one flying around, but I don't know whether there are more. Where those light patches are.
Left or right?
Both.
Here in Rottendorf, in Schwandorf, we have at least 4 barns that are home to Barbastelle bats. We have forest here and open land and hedgerows that the bats can use as orientation when hunting. They don't have to fly very far.
The National Natural Heritage Site Brünnhof offers both perfect hunting areas and a wealth of natural tree habitats for the Barbastelle bat. This is a former training ground for troops, so there has never been any intensive use of wood. Old and dead trees are left standing to provide homes for bats. Brünnhof can be a learning site for national forestry activities because it offers an ideal Barbastelle bat habitat. As part of the project, the Naturstiftung David is looking after 2 model regions together with ITN. The model regions of the Stiftung Bund, that is natural heritage sites across Germany, and the model region Hessen. For example, today we are in Brünnhof, which is managed by BIMA Bundesforst, one of our key partners.
What is special about the Brünnhof Natural Heritage Site is that it is one of the largest natural heritage sites in Bavaria. It has also extremely varied structures and is very semi-natural. Our goal is to protect processes in the semi-natural beech forests and preserve oak habitat types. We monitor processes so that we can learn. There is always something new we can learn in the area of forestry, about which species benefit and how we can support our oak and beech tree stocks and the different species.
We will share the findings of our Barbastelle Bat project. Forest authorities attach great importance to giving their foresters training to highlight the value of species protection. Joining forces to protect the Barbastelle bat in Germany, scientists and experts in the field are working together nationwide to improve the living conditions of these rare and endangered forest bats. The Federal Agency for Nature Conservation is supporting the project as part of the Federal Biological Diversity Programme. The German Ministry for Environment and Consumer Protection is contributing 4.3 million euros to this end. This project brings together a wide range of partners. We are all delighted to work in such a large and active network. The project is a regular source of ideas about what has to be done to increase Barbastelle bat numbers in Germany. At the end of the project, there will be a strategy for the protection of the species and development of its habitats.
Species protection is actually an important part of a forester's work. But when we receive detailed information from specialists, of course it broadens our horizons even further and helps us in our species protection efforts.
This nationwide project not only shines new light onto the current situation of the Barbastelle bat, it also offers an opportunity to stabilize populations and ensure that in future they are found in many German forests.